Hey guys, Whitney here. Thanks for joining today. This is another installment of the Ash Wealth Show. And I essentially do this show for you. Maybe you've tried to invest in rental real estate before, but got stuck in analysis paralysis, lost all your confidence, or maybe you've invested in a few rentals before, but have hit a ceiling of growth in your portfolio. Or maybe you just feel so overwhelmed by all the information out there and are just plain stuck. If any of this applies to you, you are in the right place. Thanks for joining me today. Excuse me. And again, just to recap, if you purchased real estate before or you have several under your belt, you are in the right spot. And if you have any questions as we go through today's presentation, just jump on over to the chat box, drop them in there, and we can get those answered in line with the course of the presentation, and we can clean everything up afterwards. All right, so if you have not met me before, this is me. I'm Whitney Hutten. This is me and my crazy crew. This picture was taken about a year ago in Mexico, but this is the whole reason why I invest in real estate. It's really so I can spend time with my family and travel the world and just do really impactful things and be here with you. It wasn't always like this. I started off in real estate investing totally by accident in 2002. Doing my first live and flip and house hack. And trust me, that was not how that investment was supposed to go. Fast forward, a few years and a few flips later, my husband and I were doing quite well, but the problem was that we didn't have cash flow. And we had buckets of money, but we were just like, this is a lot of work to get this. How can we get that paycheck regularly coming in on a daily basis or a monthly basis? And that's really where we fell in love with rental real estate and scaled our portfolio from there. So, we've been able to partner in quite a good amount of real estate, mostly residential, some self-storage. We still do some flipping on the side, but really, to get started, it's like an iceberg, right? Like majority of what you see people doing today is based on a foundation. And that foundation for us was completing our first 30 rehab properties, learning how to use other people's money, including the banks. None of what we are doing today would have been possible if we didn't have that initial foundation. And you know what? We got started, probably like many of you here, all while working a job and taking care of our family. So what makes what I'm going to share today different? Well, first of all, it's based on my experience, what I discovered in 18 years of investing. And that is, in order to succeed in real estate, you have to have an investing roadmap. You have to have a plan, okay? And I have a plan that can, anyone can follow, and it can get them to financial independence with a fraction of the time if they invested without. How do I know this? Well, as soon as I finalized and created and finalized my investing plan, I was able to 5x my returns. And trust me, I wasted a lot of time not having a plan. The next, you have to have a formula for simple and repeatable systems and have the right people to run and execute those systems. Right? You can do everything yourself, but I bet you the reason why you're getting into real estate is to leverage, right? Leverage money, also leverage your time, right? You're in this to have another full-time job. And then you have to learn how to scale, okay? And this is scaling through other people, but also through scaling using other people's money. And I know so many people shy away from using other people's money, but really, this is where the rubber meets the road and how most people can grow some very large portfolios. All right. But at the end of the day, what all this gets me is 100% choice of my time. I get to spend it with my family. I get to spend it traveling, mostly local here now that we're in the middle of the COVID pandemic still. And then also, you can spend it here with you, okay? And you guys are spending your most valuable resource, which is your time as well. So I thank you so much for that. So let's dive in. All right, how to manage your time like a badass. All right, what do we need to do? Why is it important that we have to understand how to manage our time? And then just specifically, how do we do this? Okay, so let's get into the what and why of this. Okay, we've all seen time management, videos. We've read the time management books. right? There is a wealth of information on time management. And to me, it's quite honestly like a little mind numbing, a little mind blowing. But what is time management at its core? Well, first of all, I call time management a myth. Okay. We all have the same 24 hours in the day. So if it was really down to how I manage my time, we would all be winners, but it's not. It's time management is really productivity management. Okay. What are we doing with this time? Okay. Not how much time are we spending on various tasks, how quickly are we multitasking, task switching? Okay. All of that is for the birds. We need to understand what is the most highest and best use of your time. Okay. And why? Simply why? Why must we get very proficient at this? As a real estate investor, especially if you're doing this on the side while you still have a job and a family, okay, it's because time is your most precious non-renewable resource. Once it is spent, it is gone. Okay. Now you can always get more money, you can always get more houses, you can always get more of anything else, but once your time is spent, it is gone. So let's learn how to, again, be productive with your time and be very essentially run our time, run our calendars like a CEO. Okay. So here is a pyramid. Okay. It's called the productivity pyramid. One of my favorite gurus, Trevor McGregor, he loves this pyramid. It's based on a lot of Tony Robbins work. Go ahead and take a picture of this. We're going to be coming back to this quite a bit, but let's start breaking down this pyramid. All right. So if we start with the bottom, these brown tasks, okay, we have to understand what our time's worth. So what I want you to do is to go through your calendar and put down every single thing that you're doing this week, down to doing the laundry, getting the groceries, cooking, watching television, okay? Put that all down, okay? Then we want to identify the brown time, okay? So let's define this. Brown time are these tasks that, generate $0 or maybe $10 an hour for us, okay? Maybe they're watching TV, social media, reading and watching the news. Okay, guys, that Apple News app on my phone, it always sneaks its way back on, but I can like hours reading the news on Apple News. Shopping, cleaning, yard work. Okay, these are all the things that actually don't serve your goals. Okay, now some of these are necessary. Like you got to cook, right? You have to eat, all right? Okay, but put all these down. Right? The next tier, again, let's define this, the light green task. Okay, these tasks are generating maybe $10 or $50 an hour, potentially. Okay, these type of tasks are, might be linked to your goals, but they're more administrative. All right, maybe it's setting up an LLC for your real estate business, or banking, or finding insurance, or maybe putting together a construction budget. All right, now these seem very tangible, and I know so many investors that I work with, their calendar is, when we do this exercise, is filled with all these type of green tasks, and they think they are being productive. Guess what? You're not. Okay. But again, some of these tasks have to get done. The question is, does it have to get done by you? All right. Now we're getting into like, what is your time really worth? Okay. When you go through your calendar and you've jotted down everything that you're possibly doing, the dark green time, this type of activity is generating probably $100 or more an hour. Okay. These actions are in direct alignment with your goals. Maybe they're going meeting on a regular basis with your property management team and doing a check-in, right? How cool is that if you can meet with your property manager on a weekly basis and forgo a tenant turn, right? That could be $3,000 right there. Or maybe you're meeting on a regular basis with your property management team and you identify a specific way to, cost save across your entire portfolio. That could be worth $5,000, just in 1 year, and then, amplify that out over multiple years. That could be like a few $100,000. Deal sourcing, right? Just making sure that you have on your list, on your daily task, finding deals, right? You're in real estate. If you don't have a deal, you probably don't, probably don't have much of a portfolio. Okay, so deal sourcing, analyzing that deal, underwriting that deal, putting in offers, strategic networking. Now, strategic networking, I sometimes argue should go in the gold category. Why? You meet the right deal source, they can mean millions of dollars to your portfolio, not just 100. All right. All right. Yellow time. This is where the rubber meets the road. Okay. And I know a lot of times when I'm working with investors, they are sacrificing their time, their precious, non-renewable resource. They're filling their calendars with brown stuff and light green stuff because it makes them feel like they're getting things done when they really need to be concentrating on the yellow stuff. Okay. Thinking time, planning, allowing space for you to actually think through your goals and plan and strategize and move forward. Analyzing your portfolio performance. Okay. Maybe you do this on a monthly or a quarterly basis. Guys, I did my last portfolio rebalance, analysis session that I did back in December. I identified 6 properties that need to move out of my portfolio. That alone is going to be a few $100,000 for me this year. Now I'm going to be able to reinvest in larger deals. Okay, I mean that is well worth $200,000 or $2,000 or more an hour. Okay. Now, it's not all about generating money. Okay, it's not all about the goals in your portfolio either, in your real estate. Taking the time to invest in your mindset and your body. Guys, our body is our home. Okay, we obviously you probably live in a house, an apartment, or whatever. Okay, that take care of that too. But we got to live in this body. Okay, and with this awesome supercomputer, known as our mind, we have to live with that 24/7. We cannot shake it. So take care of it. That should be gold time. All right. Prioritize time. Strategic partnerships and relationships. Okay. Now, here's my rule of thumb. If I go to a networking event, that networking event has to yield me a $2,000 an hour activity. Meaning I need to be putting myself in a room with a strategic partner or the ability to meet somebody that I can form a lifelong relationship with in my business, okay? Or in my life, okay? So that is how I think about it. I know a lot of people just go to like every single meetup under the sun, and some of them serve them, some of them don't, okay? We're gonna talk about how to implement the system here in a second, okay? This is our mindset. We should prioritize going to places and meeting with people that are going to be strategic partnerships and relationships. Family time. Family time for me is priceless. Okay, so for me, I prioritize it as a yellow time activity. I can't even put a price tag on it. It's not worth $2,000 an hour. It's worth so much more than that. And then strategic education. Okay. I know this is reading books, listening to podcasts, but constantly ask yourself, is this time well spent? Am I getting the value out of this that I have intended to get out of it? Okay, don't just listen to a podcast because you think it's cool, right? I love listening to Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert. Does it really give me a $2,000? Is it really a $2,000 activity? No, it's not. It's brown time for me. Okay, so identify that strategic education that should be going on your calendar. Okay, invest in yourself. This feeds back to the mindset work and your body work. Okay, so now we've just done a high level of breaking down what your time is worth. All right, so let's start to figure out how to scale all this. You're like, great, Whitney. Okay, I got my calendar. I've put everything down. I color-coded everything. What do I do now? All right, so let's start implementing. So when we have a brown time activity, you want to make sure that you're eliminating as many of these as possible, okay? TV, social media, the news, right? Most of this does not serve us. Now I'm going to put a big asterisk there, right? You do need to decompress, Okay. And if your best way of decompressing is watching like your favorite episode of, maybe Schitt's Creek or something like that, do it. Okay. But just take care that you're not mindlessly engaging in that brown time activity. Also, look for ways to delegate immediately things off your plate, like shopping, cleaning, yard work. All right. Now, you might be in the spot where you're just like, I can't afford to delegate these. Okay, can you delegate them to another family member and get them involved and train them up? Okay, we do a ton of delegation to our daughter, and she takes care of a large portion of the house. So my husband and I can do our work at our highest and best selves. Okay. Now the light green activities. Okay, these are the things that are a little bit closer linked to our goal, but they're still pretty admin related. Now these activities, I want you to go through a framework first. What needs to be done? Can you cut anything first? Is there an admin activity that you should not be doing at all? Cut it, get it off your calendar, give it a nice hug, kiss it goodbye, get it off your calendar, open up that space. Then automate as much as you possibly can. Okay, and only automate things that are directly linked to your goals. And there's some cool platforms that you can use. Maybe you can use like Zapier or ActiveCampaign, Zoom for meetings, Calendly for calendars, or just create templates. Maybe you're sending the same email all the time to property managers or realtors. Can you create a template in your Gmail account and just use that so things go much smoother and quicker? All right. Once you've cut, once you've automated, now is the time to delegate and or hire something out. Okay. And this is a great opportunity. If you got kids, pull your kids into the business. If you've got a family member that can be utilized as well, pull them in. Or at the end of the day, you can use a virtual assistant. Okay, and there's great virtual assistants here in the United States. I actually have 2 virtual assistants over in the Philippines that help me with my portfolio. And guys, it's really not that expensive. Okay. All right. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. All right. The dark green time and the yellow time. There's still things that we can do in order to scale our time. Okay. Now you see, guys, it's not about how we're spending our time, right? This is not about time management. This is how do we scale? How do we become more productive with the time we have? All right, dark green time. Again, these are those tasks that are $100 or more an hour. We want to systemize things as much as possible. Okay. And the system can look 2 different ways. One, we can group things together, okay, create time blocks for tasks. For me, I do all my webinars and my meetings on Wednesday. There's a very strategic reason why I do that, because my husband's home and my daughter's home, and my husband can help manage my daughter a little bit. And so I can knock all my meetings out. So, but that is creating a time block. I have 1 day a week where I got to be on it with energy, and I look forward to it. Also, take strategic meetings only in this grouping time block. So one of the things that I see people that start using Calendly or Schedule Once, they just open up their entire week for people to meet with them. No, let's be very strategic. You can create multiple links. Maybe you're going to have all of your realtor calls on Tuesday morning from 8 to 10 and all your property management calls on Thursday from 8 to 10. Group it so you can get in the right mindset to talk to the right group. Next, the other part of the systemization is creating SOPs, okay, standard operating procedures. In a previous life, I actually still do this, but operations management. I'm always looking at the lens like when I'm taking on a new task, how can I write down all the steps? One, so I can be smoother at, executing that particular task, right? I'm not having to think, I've reduced the friction. I don't have to memorize anything. But 2, with the frame of mind that I am going to delegate that task at some point in time. Okay, whether it's a light green task or a dark green task, I will delegate that and get that off my plate at some point in time. Okay, things here that I love delegating: deal sourcing. I have delegated majority of my deal research to a VA. It costs me $50 a month to do that. I'm just gonna let that one land for a little bit. And they are sourcing majority of my deals. I have written out my structure. I've used Google Docs. Okay, I've even created the spreadsheet where they enter certain parts of the information from the operating memorandum. It does a high level analysis. I go into that spreadsheet every morning at 6:30 a.m. and I see if something else new has popped up that falls kind of in my wheelhouse and warrants me to analyze further. That's how you scale. Okay. Other ways you can scale with SOPs, create tons of templates so you're not having to reinvent the wheel every single time. Tweak your templates. As soon as something works for you, you're constantly leveling up, and then create checklists. All right. Get out of our own way. I have an onboarding checklist for all my properties. I have an ongoing monthly checklist. I have a quarterly checklist. I have an offboarding checklist when I sell a property. Because guys, I know I am my own worst enemy. I can't possibly hold all that in my head. All right, so that's how you systematize those dark green activities. All right, so yellow, really what the idea, where you want to go, the goal is to, if you're running your business like a CEO, at some iteration of your business over time, you want to move into the yellow time, where you are primarily taking or focused on these yellow time meetings, those 2,000 an hour or more activities. That family time, thinking time, working on your health and mindset, working on your relationships and partnerships, strategic education, analyzing your portfolio performance. Okay, that's how we get here. All right, so what does this look like in play? You're like, oh my gosh, Whitney, I don't even know where to go. Well, first, get everything down on your calendar, okay? So this is just kind of like a snapshot of one of my weeks, okay? And so I've got all my lead gen activities in the morning. I'm following up on specific things that are more higher level that I need to do. I've got my goal time. I'm taking care of my body first thing in the morning. I've got time with my daughter. Ash is my daughter. It's also my business. So, and then I've got, other blocks too, like in there where I'm working, time blocks where I'm working on other specific things. Okay. So what you want is to spend majority of your life in that gold area. Okay. And this is just a specific, an example. All right, so we've done a lot of work. This is a system for you to put in place, okay, to, again, level up and scale your productivity, okay? It's not about time management. It's like, how can we be more resourceful with our time? This is how people get things done, is they don't do it all themselves. But we have to constantly iterate. So I want to give you a process. You can call it the postmortem. You can do this once a week. That's what I suggest until you get really good at it, or a minimum on a monthly basis, but do it once a week to begin with. At the end of every week, carve out a date with yourself, okay? An hour planning time, okay? Your first step is going to be this postmortem piece, and then you're gonna write your schedule for the following week and challenge yourself to get better. So the first thing in this postmortem phase, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. What do you need to stop doing? Okay, look at the previous week that you just completed, and what do you need to stop? Maybe you're like, oh man, that new, all the new episodes of, I don't know, your favorite TV show just dropped last week and you watched them all. Or, maybe there was a huge event that happened, in the news, and you spent a lot of time following that, event, and it really didn't have anything to do with your goals. Anyways, ask yourself what you need to stop doing. Okay, this is not about perfection. We always will take, there's always going to be that back step. All right, so let yourself off the hook. It's about moving forward, which leads us to the second question. What do you need to start doing? Okay, so looking at that week, what do you need to start doing? Does it mean you need to take apps off your phone? Do you need to put a timer on your computer and shut down some websites? Do you need to rearrange your blocks? Like for me right now, I have to go through some physical therapy for an injury that I have. I have to rearrange all of my personal time blocks for my mindset and my body work to different parts of the day to accommodate not only the physical therapy, but the work I have to do at home. Okay, so we should look at this as a process we're constantly evolving. And then reward yourself. There's probably something that you either did intentionally or unintentionally that worked really well. Okay, look at that weight and ask, what do you need to continue, and celebrate that fact. Okay, and continue to integrate. All right. Then moving forward, again, this is a two-part postmortem meeting. The first half is that start, stop, continue model that we're going to look at. The next part of that meeting, the other 15, 20 minutes, is actually preparing for the next week. So then move over to the next week, your next calendar. It can be on a paper calendar, it can be on an electronic calendar, and place your rocks on the river. Okay, actually go and place those meetings in the correct time blocks. Guys, you own your time. There is no reason why you can't get your meetings in the right time blocks that work for you. Okay, every once in a while you'll butt up against somebody that is super savvy with their productivity like you are going to be, and that's fine. Okay, you'll be able to flex around that, but most people are not that savvy with their time. Okay, so place your rocks in the river that work for you. Get really I call it aggro, but get really aggressive about saying no. Okay, and if you can't say no, that's fine. Say not now. Okay, that's great, but I got to put that off for now. Let's take a look at it next month, right? You can also say no to things that are already on your calendar. Okay, especially if you put them on your calendar weeks ago, and whatever, you've already solved the problem, you don't need to talk to that person, or that meeting will no longer serve your goals. You can remove those. You have permission. You have my permission if you need it. So say no or not now to any meetings or commitment that have fallen on your calendar, that have kind of snuck their way in there. They always do. And especially say no to things if you're behind on your goals. Okay, remember, keep your goals, your personal goals, your family goals, and your financial goals front and center. And then again, once you've kind of got the rocks in the river, you've cleared your calendar of all the things that shouldn't be on there, you've rearranged your time, get the right meetings and the right time blocks on your calendar. Okay, give every hour a task, even if the task is space for grace or downtime. Give every hour a task so you know what you should be doing at that point in time. All right. So here's my challenge to you. Again, kind of wrapping it up, putting a nice little bow on this, is document everything you do, okay, either on your electronic calendar, which is probably the easiest, or on a paper calendar. Color code it, okay? The brown time for all those things that are like $0 to $10 activities, light green for all those things that are $10 to $50 activities, maybe below 100. Your light green or your dark green are going to be your $100 more activities, and then your yellow activities are going to be that $2,000 an hour activities. Identify what color you're spending the most time in. Get super real and honest with yourself. What color are you spending the most time in? All right. Now, if you guys were on for last week's presentation, we talked about our saboteurs, okay, mindset, okay. The people that have the hardest time, the saboteurs that have the hardest time getting really real with themselves, are the perfectionist, the pleaser, and the avoider. All right, so if you fall in any one of those categories, get real with yourself. This is an honest conversation, and again, it's not about getting it right the first time, it's about continual improvement. All right, and then execute. Okay, stumble, fall, fail forward. What can you cut? What can you automate? What can you delegate? What can you hire out? And then just continue to rinse and repeat the process and make incremental progress forward. All right. Well, hopefully you feel this is time well spent so far. I certainly enjoy talking about this topic. Time management, productivity management is near and dear to my heart. If you've got any questions, drop them in the chat box. And my question to you is, do you want help with this? Because if you do, I have a solution for you. It's the Investor Accelerator. And the Investor Accelerator, we go through problem solving, just things like this. It's not only about real estate, it's about the mindset. It's about what you need to do to succeed as an investor. Whether you're just starting out in real estate, don't have a deal, doing this on the side, or you have several deals in your belt and you're doing this more full time. So in the Investor Accelerator, it's a mastermind. Think of it like a table. In a table, you have 4 legs on the table. If you cut any one of these legs off, if this is missing in your, any one of these legs are missing in your investing plan, it's probably wobbling. It's probably not working for you, okay? It's either wobbling or it's falling over. And so the first thing you need in order to succeed is education. And in the Investor Accelerator, we give that to you with lifetime access to the Investor Accelerator course. And this is where most people stop. They think, I can DIY it, I can do it myself, I'm scrappy, I can do this all myself. That is fine, and I think kudos to you. But if you really want to succeed and move forward, remember, there's 3 other pillars you have to have. You got to have that plan. We talked about that earlier. You have to have an investing roadmap. You have to have a plan. And in the Accelerator, we put together a business planning strategy specifically for you. And I'll lead you through a process. One of this being the productivity pyramid, but exactly what vision and strategy strategy process that you need to be completing on a regular basis to get continued progress forward. All right. Then you got to have the system. We talked about that. You have to have repeatable systems and people to execute those systems. So in the Investor Accelerator, I give you my exact systems, tools, checklists, done for you scripts, templates, the whole 9 yards. This is all in there. Anything I develop for my business goes into the Accelerator. So you're constantly going to get value out of all the things that the ways I'm still evolving my business. Okay. And I'm going to help you get unstuck. I know so many people, those light green tasks that we just talked about, thinking that talking to all the CPAs and the lawyers and all these insurance agents, those are actually going to help achieve results. No, let's solve that for you right now. And I'll give you my curated list of providers and deal finders. But the last leg of that table is the support and scale. How can we put you in a community that is going to meet you where you at and help you support and scale your business? So in the Investor Accelerator, we do 2 monthly calls. Okay. One of the sessions is focused on business and strategy and growth. The other call is focused on rapidly expanding your investing knowledge, okay, and your network. Then we do a weekly Ask Me Anything kind of hackathon session. So, if you're stuck at any point in time, you show up to those hackathon sessions and we're going to help you crush it and move forward through your goals. And then, of course, for some people, they don't like, they're shy talking on a meeting or whatever. That's totally fine. We have a community support group of like-minded investors that are walking the same path you are and that you can engage into. So I invite you to, for the Investor Accelerator Mastermind, and like I said before, with the right education plan and support like this, how far could you scale? You could probably go extremely far. And I guarantee you, I've done it for myself. So if you're interested, check out the ashwealth.com/apply. You can jump on there. It's like a 10-second application. We'll hop on a phone call and make sure that this is the right environment for you. And again, thank you so much for spending your time here with me today. It's been amazing, and I hope you've gotten an immense amount of value.